My guest today for Voices of the Valley is none other than Tanika Harper. You are sort of the person I almost don't need to introduce because you're very well known in this community for the work that you do. You know how people say, like, she's a girl's girl. You're the people's people.
Oh, man.
That's the way I see
love to
you.
hear it. Yeah.
So first, tell us a little bit about the Shore Foundation, which is what you're widely known for.
Absolutely. The Shore Foundation is probably the thing that I do most, that I am the most passionate about. Shore was founded in 2008, just pretty much out of a need just to provide resources primarily in the East Knoxville community to youth really up until the age of 22. And so right now, you know, we have full-time programming. We have 3 different programs that we're really, really proud about. We have the Academic Center, which focuses on youth, after-school summer program, focuses on education achievement, mental health, and, you know, food security. Our second program we have is the Roots Collective. It's all things entrepreneurs. So we have a co-working space for entrepreneurs in East Knoxville. We have networking opportunities, workshops to help elevate entrepreneurs, really just meeting them where they are and helping them, you know, fulfill their goals and their dreams. Then our third program is the Healing Pathways Clinic. And man, we are so proud of that. That clinic provides mental health therapy to the community. So for the past 2 years, we've only really been able to do that to the kids that we serve. So it's kind of prerequisite to our program that you had to be in our program to receive the therapy sessions. But now we're able to provide that to the whole East Knoxville community, which we know has been like a mental health desert for years. And so Shore, we're growing. And I'm really passionate and thankful about the people who support us and who choose us.
So where did the name Shore come from?
Great question. So Shore was originally going to be called A Safe Place.
Okay.
But I could not use that because it was already taken in the state of Tennessee. So at the time, I was working in corporate America, and one of my coworkers was Nigerian. And so I was like, hey, if I wanted to say a safe place in the Nigerian language, what would that be? And he was like, well, the closest thing to that would be Shora. And here we are, all these years later, about 15 years in, and we are the Shore Foundation. Because a safe place meant so much to me that I didn't want to lose that. So if I couldn't call it a safe place, I still wanted it to have that meaning, because that's exactly what we do. We provide a safe place for people in the community, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally. So everything that we do with the intentionality is that we are a safe place when you walk in our door, to be seen and to be heard.
In the early days when this idea came to you, what need were you seeing? Because you know, these little seeds are planted because you see things in the community.
The biggest need at the time when we started in 2008 was life skills for youth who were transitioning from high school to either college or high school to the workforce. So really, if kids decide that they don't want to go to college, in our community, the lack of resources are very minimal. So when it comes to like vocation training or like what's next for me if I don't choose college, or even if I choose college, who's helping me fill out the FAFSA and the application forms. And so really that was our focus at the time. So when we first started in 2008, we didn't have a building of our own. So we went to where youth were. We went to other youth serving organizations, and we provided like life skills training in these areas. For example, one of them was even how to read your pay stub. You know, just a lot of people just don't know how to do that. And so it was just life skills training. And since then, we just have evolved to more full-time programming to dive deeper with the people that we serve in our own buildings now. So, but originally that was the goal: life skills training for young adults.
How have the kids received your programs?
Man, they love it. They don't want to leave. They want to go home. I be like, man, y'all ain't got to go home. Y'all got to leave. No.
It's time
to go. But even the parents love it. So when we have events, like parents come, they're engaged. We also provide programming for our parents that we serve, financial literacy. So our approach at Shora is a very much holistic approach. So when people ask me, well, if there was just one thing that you wanted to focus on, or that if I was going to give you money for, would it be mental health? Would it be food? Would it be educational supplies? And I always respond is I can't have one without the other, because I can't get a child to read if they're hungry.
That's right.
I can't talk about their mental health if they're hungry. And then even if I do, then I don't want to sacrifice the educational work, right? And so we have to take care of the whole person. And when you're taking care of the whole person with a child, you have to include their parents. So if the parents are struggling with putting food on the table or financial management, it's our job to kind of help fill that gap. So also, what we do is we have the Shora Stop and Go. So it's like a food pantry for the families that we serve. Inflation is high. We're all feeling it. It's okay. So we provide not only food, but also toiletries. This summer, for example, we had financial management classes for the parents around building your credit, banking, life insurance, because those things matter in communities that have not been invested in.
You know, when you talked about reading the pay stub, the first thing I thought was it's a lot of adults who could use that
Yes,
class.
absolutely.
Do you feel like over the years you've seen kids go further because of your programs, because of the things they've learned, and they might have gone if they hadn't gone through Shora?
Yeah, we've even had some youth come back and work for us who was in the program, then they turned around and wanted to come back and pour in to the youth that we serve now. You know, a lot of kids that we work with go to college. You know, we are surpassing, like every student that we serve progresses to the next grade level. About 85% of our students remain on honor roll. And that's because we're intentional. So if kids are struggling in reading and math, we bring in a tutor for free that the parents don't have to pay for. So we're doing everything that we can to make sure that kids are excelling academically. And so, yeah, we're really, really proud about that. Sometimes when we look at what the state is doing versus what our kids are doing, our kids are surpassing like those state level expectations.
Okay, so give me favorite experience throughout your journey with Shora with either a kid or their parent, something that kind of makes you sit back and go, okay, I did that. This is coming to fruition.
Oh, yeah. So years ago, so I believe, I don't know how we got on this list, but I'm not mad about it. But we serve a lot of kids in foster care, in the foster care system. So we had a young lady who came in. She was in the 6th grade, but had bounced around in a lot of different foster homes. So no fault to her, she could not read. So her reading level was probably on a kindergarten reading level. And she was very, very honest with us about that. She said, now I'm very good at math, but I cannot read. And that was vulnerability right there. But that was because we provide a safe place for kids to be able to say, I can't read. And so I brought in my mom and I was like, you have one job and one job only. Your only job every day is to work with her on her reading. We're gonna start where she is and we're gonna bring her up. And how we're gonna do it is because what kid wants to just read every day, right? Not many. So we gave her an incentive. So we gave her fake dollars every day. And then on Friday, she could use these fake dollars to buy from a store that we had. And so that was her incentive because she wanted on Friday to buy candy or chips or whatever, something that her foster parent might not have been providing to her. And with over about a 1.5 year period, we saw her go from a kindergarten reading level to like a 3rd or 4th grade reading level. And we didn't get her up to 6th grade because she ended up moving again and had another placement. But it was about 6 months after she had left us. I hadn't seen her, didn't know where she was placed because of course we don't know. But I saw her at Target and I just heard somebody running through Target, like saying my name with arms stretched out wide, and it was her. And she looked really, really good. She had been adopted. She was in a new home, but she was so thankful and appreciative and just remembered the time spent. And that was when it was like, okay, because we're seed planters, when you work with youth, you have to know that you're a seed planter. So you may not see always the fruits of your labor. But that for me was like, she got it. She did it. And for me, I was like, it was instant gratification when I saw her, because I was really worried about her, because we worked with her so hard, so tough. But she did it, and we got her to where she needed to be for the time that we had her.
That's
but it was
huge.
good.
In a year. That's a year and a half. That's
a year and a half. Yeah. But it was every day, summer, after school, every day, all in. And that's what it takes. When you see a kid who needs your help, you have to be intentional and you have to put in the work, right? So
I also love your focus on entrepreneurship. You know, we hear a lot, there's a lot of hustle culture. Very hard to say, hustle culture. But, you know, if you do it right with the plan, it doesn't have to be a hustle. And just helping people in the community understand that path to become an entrepreneur has been one of your focuses.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes when you're starting out, right, you do have that hustle mindset. I got to grind it out. I got to do this. I got to do that. But we try to tell people in entrepreneurship, it should be an ebb and flow, right? You shouldn't have to like grind it out, because there's a lot of people working hard but don't have nothing to show for it, right? So for us, we want to make sure that we're telling entrepreneurs that it's all about a plan. It's all about a strategic plan. So for example, a couple of weeks ago, I met with a young lady and she has a business idea. My job is to ask the tough questions that she's not thinking about. What is your budget? What is it going to take for you to start? Who is your competition? What's going to make you different, right? So my job is not to discourage you, but my job is to make sure you have the plan and action so that you can be successful. And that's what we do through the Roots Collective program, right? And so we are there to help you get to where you want to be. We're also going to give you some homework and give you some things to think about before you just jump in, because there's just a lot of things that like people don't think about. Some of us make it look easy, but boy, it is not.
I can only imagine.
It is very, very hard, and especially when you're talking about starting a business during times of inflation, and you know, some people were starting during COVID. You really do have to have a plan. And so we come together through networking events, making sure that we're putting other entrepreneurs in front of people, in front of startups, so we can be real. You know, sometimes people come in and say, I don't know how I'm gonna make payroll this week, you know, and it's like, well, let's talk about that. Let's see if we can help you. Or somebody's like, I'm trying to write a book and I missed my deadline, you know, so it's just real conversations that we have in our groups to just help people, be there for people, and just to provide the support in a room full of others that, you know, look like you.
And you know where they're coming from because you're an entrepreneur yourself. Tell us about Harper Naturals.
Yeah, so Harper's Naturals was founded in 2014. So that is my for-profit business on the side of the world. I started Harper's Naturals. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Sjogren's. And so Sjogren's largely affects the skin. And so through research and talking with my doctor and other people in the Sjogren's community, I just kept reading like, do all natural products, like change the chemicals that you put on your skin. And so, you know, we've always heard natural is better, right?
Absolutely.
I always have heard it, but I never dived into it, right? So I was at a point where really I didn't have a choice. If I wanted to live better and have healthy skin, I knew that I was going to have to make a change, because also what we put on our skin, it goes unfiltered into our major organs, which also causes other types of heightened inflammation and among other things. So at first I was like, I'm just going to buy natural products. But I had to become a label reader, and then I was like, oh, you just throw a little shea butter in something and then say it's natural.
Right. This has almond oil.
Yeah. I was like, okay, but then all the rest of it though is like, it's toxic. It's not.
Words I can't read.
Right. So I was like, I guess I'm just gonna have to learn to make stuff. And so I just started making stuff at home. And then, you know, before you know it, I was sharing it with like family and friends, like, oh, I made this, you know, try it out. And then they started like, oh, I want some more soap, or I want some more lotion. And I was like, well, you can pay me for it because the ingredients are expensive to kind of make the stuff. Well, long story short, it just kind of really bloomed into a thing. I didn't set out for it to be like a business, but what I realized is there was a need for it. And there were so many other people looking for truly all natural, non-toxic products. And this is why we are still where we are today. So I'm really, really thankful because a lot of mom and pop shops didn't make it past COVID. But we are still thriving, we're still surviving, we're growing. And so I'm still thankful to be in that business.
What's the biggest lesson you learned starting your own business?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is to always have a mentor in whatever industry you're seeking to be in, because there are always people who have gone ahead of you and you don't have to make the same mistakes. And so just having and being vulnerable, sometimes being vulnerable is hard, but I've had to sit in rooms where we're like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is retail. I've never been in retail, right? To have somebody help you. So I think the biggest lesson I learned is just to kind of be honest when you're in a room with people who want to help you and want to see you succeed, and have a mentor. But sometimes that's hard. But what I've realized is, but without that, there would be no growth.
Just kind of running,
Just
almost like on a wheel, trying to figure it out.
I mean, at some point you have to realize, I had to realize I can only take my business so far with my own knowledge. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a website developer. Like, I can only do so much. So to be able, and for those of us who we feel like we can just do it all, you have to realize, no, you can't. Like, there's somebody smarter than you that can help you, and I can't do it all. So whether, like, social media is not my jam at all. Like, posting on social media, like, I just trying to create content all the time. I'm like, daughter, can you do this for me, right? But, having somebody even come and take that over. So you just can't do it all. So surrounding yourself with people who can help you with the growth.
The more I go to events around town, I feel like I've run into you. The past maybe 5 gala and award events that I've been to, and you've been honored a lot recently. How do you receive that? That people are seeing you?
Yeah, that's a great question. It does feel good to be seen and to be heard, and that people are seeing like some of the work that you've been doing like for a very long time. So it does feel very, very good, and I'm blessed and I'm honored. And sometimes like it's like I see like other women or other people who are being nominated, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm alongside them. Because sometimes when you're in the trenches, like me, like you're just doing the work. So sometimes I don't think that I'm doing anything grand. I just am doing what needs to be done, right? It's like you see a hole in the floor, you patch it up. It's just like I'm just doing the thing that should be done. So sometimes people are like, well, how does it feel? And I'm like, I'm just doing the work, everybody, and I always say if everybody just plays their part, they say you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Well, if I eat my piece and you eat your piece and you eat your piece, we'll get it taken care of very quickly. And so it's just kind of the life I live by. So I'm very thankful that people see me, but I don't ever want to forget that the work just still needs to be done. You don't want to look at the award and be like, oh, I've arrived and I'm here now, and so somebody else can go do the work. No, I still need to do the work.
Why is this work so personal for you? You're a hometown girl, you Austinese from Knoxville. Why have you held on to this commitment to serve for so long?
So I think my experience at Austinese is mainly why. So it's one thing to be on the outside of the community, looking in on a community and saying that community needs XYZ, like making an assumption on what the community needs. But I think living it and seeing how we were treated as students in the predominantly all black school, how we were compared always to like a Farragut at that time, or when we would travel on road trips, the racism that was there. the lack of resources that we had in our community then, we still have them now. Like, not much has really changed. And I just think that, like, I didn't want to be the one to walk away from it, to get success and be like, those experiences were hurtful. And there is a lack of resources, and I can't fix it all. So just walk away from it completely, because I think sometimes a problem is so big that you're like, that problem is just so big, so I'm just not even gonna do anything. Right, can't even tackle it. But I just wanted to play my part and tell students they didn't have to be the statistic that the state of Tennessee said that they were going to be, but to show them, like, I am from here. I sat in the same seats you sat in. I have 2 master's degrees. I have 2 bachelor's degrees. I own a business. Like, you can do it too. And so for me, it was wanting to be the show and tell. It was wanting to show them, like, you can do it, and I'm a living witness. And I can say, even for the staff at Shore, every single one of my staff have graduated from Austin East High School and have degrees, because that is important to me. I hire from the community, so the kids that we serve in the community can see that, like, I can. And that was missing when I was there.
Is there something throughout your journey you're just most proud of? Now, I look at your resume, I love the mental health. I love giving mental health to kids, because that's something a lot of us didn't grow up with. It wasn't prevalent, and then now it's hard to get.
It's hard to get. That would be what I'm most proud of, I think, right now, because I never thought I would even be in the mental health space. I'm not a mental health professional. I do not have a degree in social work or psychology. That's just not something I ever thought that I would be doing. But 2020 was hard for communities everywhere. We had COVID. We know Black and brown families were losing people at a much faster rate to COVID. Our community in East Knoxville was experiencing a lot of community violence. George Floyd happened, Breonna Taylor happened, and Black communities were suffering. And it was during that time I realized, I was like, okay, you're here to fill gaps. That's a gap that needs to be filled. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew that I had to. So I reached out to our psychologist, and I was like, this is what I need from you. We can't come to you. You have to come to us, and this is how I need you to do it. And she was just like, sign me up. Like, when do I start?
Wow.
Yeah, she was like, when do I start? And so, and I didn't know how that response was going to be, because what we're doing is unprecedented. Providing trauma-informed therapy, which is, by the way, a new thing. Like, trauma-informed therapy, like, universities are just now starting to teach their students, like, what that looks like. And so it has just been amazing. Our kids are seeing an increase in anxiety and depression. They are learning to put language around their feelings, which will help them into adulthood, because there are a lot of adults who can't put language around their feelings.
That's right. A lot.
Yeah, and I mean, what we're doing is preventative. We're in the preventative work here, right? We are teaching youth how to process and how to cope with poverty, death, homelessness. You know, we've had kids who are facing homelessness during this time. And we're just teaching them how to process and cope and put language around that. So it's been very, very important to me, because we know youth, the second leading cause of death is suicide. And so I want to think that we're in that preventative work. We're preventing, negative health outcomes for the work that we're doing now. So the seeds that we're planting now will help them when they're older. When you're sick, you say, I'm going to go to the doctor because I don't feel well. My head is hurting. My nose is running. We want our kids, when they get older and they're mentally not well, it's okay to say, I'm going to go see a therapist, because it's already been planted in me.
It's normalized.
It's normalized. And we're normalizing it with families. When we first started this work, parents did not want to sign their kids up, because we are still fighting the stigma of therapy in our community. But you got to keep going. You got to keep knocking that door down And, you know, I tell people all the time, like, just because, like, you don't get 20 people or 50 people to show up the first time don't mean you quit. So now every kid that we serve is getting therapy. We started with 2, now we have 30. You know, that's unheard of. And so we are also providing therapy to our non-offending caregivers too. Because again, when you work with the youth, the outcome is so much better when you get the parent on board.
Oh my gosh. What does the future hold for you? I don't even know what's left to do. But what does the future look like for Tanika Harper?
Yeah, so somebody asked me that the other day. And so real estate, I think.
Wait, what?
I think so. Yeah, we got a commercial on on the radio right now about I think that's the next thing. So I'm not gonna stop doing anything, but I think trying to build wealth in the community, teaching others how to do that, leaving a legacy for my daughter. Like, that's my focus right now.
All this and your mom. All this. From one mom to another. I don't know how you do it, but all this. Thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for sharing your story. My goal to have you on this show is that hopefully it plants some seeds to show that you don't have to do everything, but you can do your part to improve your community, and you show that every single day.
Yeah, just do what you can.
All right. Thank you, Tanika.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.